What it do? Luke here. If you want to know my top 3 favorite pastimes, it would have to be buying things I don't care about, crippling debt, and shoving 2 unrelated things together. You know, like a yacht and a club, a Super and a Mario, a shovel and a knife.
In an age where the most played games are sports games, shooters, and massive open worlds, Yacht Club Games just said it and let's make a platformer centered around a shovel. Yacht Club Games set out with a goal to make a game that made players feel like they were playing an old NES game, and boy did they deliver. I mean, look at this. One is just prettier than the other, and I think you know which one I'm talking about.
So, how did the heads of Yacht Club Games come up with the genius idea that is Shovel Knight? You may not believe it, but it all started from a joke. 2 friends named Nick Wozniak and Sean Velasco were talking about how games were back in the old days, how they were all just 2D platformers. So they just started joking around making up their own character. A character where you can attack enemies from above and dig treasure with that same weapon. See, I really don't know how this all started from a joke, because the way my friends and I joke is much different than this. So that's when I said, that's not a pineapple, that's my dog.
The 2 friends quickly realized they had come up with something special, and they actually wanted to do something with this. So they decided to make a game, and they took the biggest risk of their lives. Since they wanted to make this game independently, they decided to quit their jobs to begin working on the game with basically no pay for years to come. But before they quit, they shared their idea with 3 of their fellow employees, who in turn joined Sean and Nick on their adventure.
If you should know one thing about the development process of a video game, you should know that it costs money. Like, a lot of money. So, that seemed to be a problem for the guys. And knowing that they needed money, they turned to Kickstarter, and oh boy did it blow up.
To all of their surprise, people were craving that juicy nostalgic feeling of retro gaming, so the project began to flood with donations. With over 14,000 backers and $311,000 in support, the team were on their way to work on the game. Many people would think that 311 big ones would be more than enough to make a retro game, but these dudes were ambitious. They unfortunately ran out of money during development, so they went a good while without funding. It wasn't until the big payday came around on June 26, 2014 when the game had finally released, and it was a hit. Everyone fell in love with the night.
Now there's nothing I love more than bonking an enemy over the head with my shovel, so where does the game start?
So the game opens with this little segment that shows that Shovel Knight has a partner named Shield Knight who was taken over by an amulet in the Tower of Fate. It goes on to explain that after Shovel Knight lost Shield Knight, he went into a life of solitude and pretty much just quit being a knight, which led the Order of No Quarter and the Enchantress to reign over the land. So now Shovel Knight knows that he has to get back in business and protect the land once again. Yeah, I know, it's not the most interesting opening to a game, but it gets the job done. It gives us an idea on what the area is like and who the antagonists are. And from there, you are thrown into this beauty. I swear, every time I hear that little jingle, I feel a tear start to sweat in my eye. Right away you can feel the controls and oh boy are they just crisp! Everything feels right. The first level of the game is a grassland area with enemies that you'd expect in a first level. None that are insanely hard, just bonk them over the head with your shovel once or twice and they're donezo. At the end of the level you fight your reoccurring rival, Black Knight. He's pretty much just a mirror villain, just Shovel Knight with black armor. Once you beat him, you are thrown into your first dream sequence.
I really think that these are some of the most intriguing sections of the game, as it shows how much Shovel Knight cares for Shield Knight, and how much he worries for her.
After the dream sequence, you are shown the game's map where you can see the small variety of things to do. You can go after the next knights, enter the town, visit the Troupple pond, or enter a special stage. At the pond, you can meet the Troupple King, a giant apple fish. Yeah, you heard that right. If you have the Troupple Chalice, you can receive one of his 3 ichors, which would then be followed by a very, interesting dance. Now if you choose to go to the town, you can bump up your health or magic, give music sheets to the bard, play a minigame, or buy relics from a guy named Chester, who you can find living in a chest. Speaking of relics, there are many relics that Shovel Knight can use. The Flare Wand, Phase Locket, Dust Knuckles, Throwing Anchor, Alchemy Coin, Mobile Gear, Warhorn, Propeller Dagger, Fishing Rod, Chaos Sphere, and the Troupple Chalice. In my opinion, the easiest knight in the game other than Stage 1 Black Knight is King Knight. King Knight's stage is really just a golden palace you can roam through. It's filled with enemy soldiers who are fun to go against as they can protect themselves from you. But once you battle King Knight, all he does is dash and stand still while confetti drops. Really not a challenge at all. After that is Spectre Knight at the Lich Yard, which is what I'd say is the first difficult level in the game. There are some segments where you can't even see Shovel Knight because his silhouette blends in with the background. Once you fight Spectre Knight, you can notice that he has a pattern to his battle. He throws his scythe around, then teleports where it lands. When you lower his health enough, he cuts all lighting, which intensifies the battle. Next up, you can battle Treasure Knight or Plague Knight. See, in my opinion, Plague Knight's stage is very annoying. It's very mind-boggling and confusing, which led to countless deaths at the same spot. And after that, there's nothing really much to say about Plague Knight. He's not too tricky, but you might die 1 or 2 times. Treasure Knight's stage takes completely underwater, which allows you to jump higher. Overall, it's a pretty basic stage. Treasure Knight is also pretty easy to defeat. After you beat those knights, you can now enter the new town where you can upgrade your armor and shovel. You can now also go after the last 4 knights in the game. Mole Knight's stage is full of lava and fun puzzles, but like Treasure Knight, I felt that he had an underwhelming boss fight. After that, I took on Polar Knight. I wish we got to see more of Polar Knight because it seems as though he had a history with Shovel Knight. Friends who had taken different paths, perhaps. After him, I went for Tinker Knight. This stage feels the most Mega Man-like in my opinion. I don't know, it just kinda seems that way because of the gears and everything. The boss battle has 2 phases, one where you fight the little dude, which could be done with 1 hit from the mobile gear. Then a big boy comes in. And then finally we have Propeller Knight's stage. I felt that this was like my favorite stage in the game. Just the control with the air and constantly climbing felt so cool. After we beat all 8 knights, we are met with the last 3 levels of the game. First of which is the entrance to the tower. This level puts your skills to the test as it is a combination of all the levels thus far. At the end, you fight a roided up Black Knight, but then a twist is revealed. Black Knight only ever fought Shovel Knight because he didn't want Shovel Knight to hurt Shield Knight, because Shield Knight was turned into the Enchantress.
What?
After that bold discovery, you climb the Tower of Fate to confront the Enchantress, but instead you are met with the entire Order of No Quarter. They are pissed and they want a rematch, so you have to beat all of them in one go. Of course, replenishing your health in between each fight. After this boss rush, you get to see all the knights dangling at the edge of the tower due to their defeat, and you get to choose if you want to save them or not. Finally, we enter the last stage. It's all come down to this moment. In this stage, you have to find the platforms you need to land on yourself to enter the final battle. During this battle with Enchantress, she can take out the platforms from underneath you, but once you finally beat her, you can finally save Shield Knight.
But wait, it's still not over.
Now you need to team up with Shield Knight to fight Enchantress in her true form one last time. I wish we had more team-up battles. It would have been interesting to see what other knights we could fight with. Now once you beat her again, the game is truly over. Enchantress shocks Shovel Knight with all of her power and Shield Knight defends him. Black Knight comes in to try and save Shield Knight but takes Shovel Knight instead. He plops Shovel Knight next to a campfire where he rests until Shield Knight comes along to rest easy next to him. It's been a long journey, but it's finally the end.
I'm insanely impressed with how creative and original this game turned out to be. Now, I only covered the Shovel of Hope arc. There are 3 more stories and a fighting mode in this game. But now that I'm finally done playing Shovel Knight, I can finally go back to playing 2 irrelevant things together. Bad and Mega Man. Ah!